It's safe to say that in a game like Tekken 8, there's going to be winners and there's definitely going to be losers. And most likely, you're both. We all have our days when we win all the time, but we sure do have our days when we lose all the time. But the thing is, losing happens a lot more than you think, especially in a game like Tekken 8. And most likely, you fall into the category of being a sore loser in Tekken 8. It's not the person's fault that they're a sore loser in Tekken 8, but it's so easy to become a sore loser in Tekken 8. Losing in Tekken 8 fucking sucks. It's like you're doing a public speech and someone throws a tomato at your face. It sucks, because now everyone knows you got dunked on, live on stage. Even though it's just you and the other person fighting online, it certainly feels like a whole stadium of people just witnessed your downfall. And because of that feeling, the inner sore loser of the person comes out. What makes people a sore loser in Tekken 8 is the moment they become the blame person. The blame person is like that bratty kid who has everything they could ever want, but it's still not good enough. The sore loser can be a person who has the high rank status, wins majority of the games they play, but the moment they meet their Tekken rival and start losing, they become a whole new person. And as a former / current sore loser in Tekken 8, who has also punched his own table, nearly breaking his own hand, let me explain to you the symptoms and reasons on what makes a sore loser in Tekken 8. And if you do fall into these categories, do take it personal, because I'm sure we can all relate to this. Blaming lag. Blaming lag in Tekken 8 is the equivalent of blaming the weather. It's one of those things that's out of your control. It's not your fault that the other person has terrible internet connection, but because you lost a full set in Tekken 8, you're going to be blaming lag, even though lag has only happened once in the game. It's the controller. There are times in Tekken 8 that you did something you shouldn't have done, like pressing rage art at the moment you have low health, or maybe you were spamming the rage art button, hoping that during the ass kicking you're receiving by the Reina, that by some miracle, the rage art is going to kick in, but it didn't. That's where you fucked up. So what do? You blame the controller. How could it be your fault that you don't know how to parry or how to decipher on what's a low block and what's a high block? Why bother knowing all that when all you got to do is press a single button, and that's called rage art? You were probably the person that relied on rage art for so long and for so many matches, and guess what? It didn't work this time. It's the game, not you. Being the sore loser means that it's always going to be the game's fault for denying your victory. You've won so many games that you feel like the game chose to make you lose this time. You had a 12 in a row win streak, so it's definitely the game's fault for choosing the beach map because you don't vibe with beach music. Or maybe you're the sore loser who is so used to getting everything your way at the beginning of the round, the other person got the first punch this time, not you. Having an OP character. In every game, or in this case, every fighting game, characters will be ranked from low tier to high tier. But since you went up against a high tier character, that's the reason why you lost. Because you went up against an Eddie Gordo this time. Don't get me wrong, I hate fighting a guy who does a lot of handstands in mid-fight, but it's your job to figure this bullshit out and win. And what's worse, you're probably the person who is using a high tier OP character anyway, like Reina or Elisa. So why are you complaining? Just get better. Another rematch. Obviously, this goes without saying that rematches will be demanded from the sore loser, and you as the winner, you have the option if you want to give that sore loser a rematch or not. The sore loser will always demand a rematch from the start because the excuses on why they lost will be next. Like it was their first game, so they deserve a rematch, or they weren't going all out. But whatever the case may be, they will demand a rematch from you, so be prepared. And even if you beat the sore loser a second time, be prepared for the insults to come in. They will say things like, you live in your mom's basement, you're trash, even though they lost an entire set. And with that being said comes bad sportsmanship. There's nothing wrong saying GG or GG easy or heck easy work in messages, because maybe it was easy work for the other person to kick your sore loser ass. You've lost every game against the other person, so the least you can do is show some good sportsmanship in the end, like this isn't over, or you fucking asshole, why are you so good at this game? But thank you for the good game though, XD. Whatever it is, bad sportsmanship is going to happen, so if you gotta, disable messages. It's the equivalent of covering your ears online, saying you got lucky. lucky. Remember, when playing against a sore loser, you didn't win because of skill, you won because you got lucky. Luck was on your side that you won all of your matches against a sore loser. You're so lucky that you knew exactly when to low parry, when you tech a grab, and heck, knowing when to block the sore loser's combos. No matter what, luck was on your side. You were so lucky that the sore loser probably didn't get enough sleep that day. So you were playing against a tired player. So in the end, you got very lucky that day. Disconnecting. This one, I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty of this. You've lost the first match and you're on the last round and about to lose in the second match of the set, and the other person got you with their rage art. And what does the sore loser do? They disconnect. Sore losers think that if they disconnect, they're the true winner, because that means the other person lost too. But that's where they're wrong. Disconnecting is like throwing the entire Monopoly board to the ground because you lost that bad. You can't stand the sight of seeing the other person win as you rank down in Tekken 8. Even though disconnecting in theory will prevent you from losing more points in ranked fights, your DC percent will go up the roof and will probably wonder why you're waiting almost 10 minutes for another fight to come up on your screen. So if someone DCs in your match, don't feel bad, because it just means the pressure was just too much for the other person. You kicked that person's ass online so bad that disconnecting is saying to you that they're rage quitting in this game. Winning once. You could be beating a sore loser 10 games in a row, but the moment the sore loser wins once, their low stamina ego bar has been fully replenished, and the insults will come in saying that you suck in this game, and they won't even rematch you after they win once. It gets personal. It's going to get personal when playing against sore losers in Tekken 8. It'll first start off with innocent insults, but as the games progress, the insults get personal, like all you do is the same move all the time, there's no skill playing your character, stop copying my moves, you're a bitch, you live in your mom's basement, what do you do for a living, you work at McDonald's probably. Don't be surprised if a friendship is ruined because of Tekken 8, because it's also not your fault that the friendship is over, because this is one inner demon that the sore loser has to overcome, and that's to get better at this game.